is to do something that you're good at, be disciplined, especially financially, and be resilient to change and growth within your business, especially when you're building a team. Be approachable and be somebody that is a servant leader.
I couldn't have said it any better myself. Those are all great things. Would you have gotten a business coach at the beginning rather than towards the end if you had it to do over again?
I would say yes, because I think I'm somebody who's like, I can figure it out. I can do this. I don't need anybody. But to know that from the very beginning, if I would have had a coach from the beginning to kind of help me walk through that little stepping path, perhaps I wouldn't have had to learn as many lessons the hard way if I had somebody who had already learned those lessons, or somebody who knew like, hey, don't do this because this is what's going to happen. That would have been helpful and probably saved me a lot of stress at the very beginning.
Let's take a second and hear Bri's story about how she started and where she is now.
All righty. So this is Wayne here with the Community Coach Workshop program, and this is Bri with Busy Li'l Bri's professional organizing service. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you.
That's awesome. So I just wanted to really give you a chance to give you a platform to talk about your business and how you came up with it, and how you got started and what it is that you do exactly.
Sure. Okay, so Busy Li'l Bri is about to be a year old. Actually, in less than a week, the business will be a year old. I started it. It started as a side gig. I had just gotten out of the Army. I was a Department of Army civilian at the time. And I loved my job, but I just started doing things that felt more like me, like things that I enjoyed doing. So it started as a hobby rather. So I started doing it with friends and stuff in my neighborhood. And they started referring me in different groups, like local groups and stuff, when people were looking for an organizer. So I started doing stuff more and more. And the more that I did it, the more that I felt fulfilled in, not that I wasn't feeling fulfilled in my day job. I just felt like I was adding more value to not only my life, but other people's lives through what I was doing. And that radiated more with me than my day job. And it wasn't until my husband pushed me to quit my job and start the business that I actually did. Because I was afraid, and I didn't think that it would go anywhere or that I would do anything. So, but I did it. I quit my job and I started the business. And it was hard at first, trying to figure out everything. I had never been a business owner before, working out all the kinks of that. And how I was going to get everything figured out, and how do I know when I'm growing, and how do I know when to hire more people, and how much do I pay those people when I hire them, and how do I know what my business can afford or not afford to pay, and how much money does my business need to have? Like all of these questions that I had that I didn't know the answers to, but I jumped into it anyway and was like, well, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, well, that's
here
great.
I am a year later. We have a team of 8, and the business operates completely without me having to be a part of the specific day-to-day operations. And I couldn't feel more grateful and proud of what I have built for my business, and where it stands today and where it's going to go tomorrow.
That's absolutely amazing. I just want to touch on a couple things. That fear that you felt, you know what I mean? Like that's what every entrepreneur really feels and really has to overcome. But you have to overcome that to actually be able to get that financial freedom that you want. People just don't realize sometimes that, yeah, you can fail. Yeah, there's a good chance most businesses do fail. I mean, the larger majority of businesses fail. I think it's a substantial amount. I don't have the exact numbers right in front of me, but most of the majority of businesses fail within the first 3 years. And then usually like your first year, you lose money. Your second year, you break even. And the third year, you make money. You're already cash flow positive in a year. So that is fantastic. It's absolutely amazing what you've done with it. And like you said, you're adding value because you chose to look at what your value is that you add. You're an incredible organizer. You're an incredibly organized person. And so you figured out how to capture that and be able to apply that value to people whose lives aren't so organized, like people like me. Like, I'm just all over the place. I got big visionary plans, but the day-to-day details are just, they're just something that I don't work with very well. So I just want to really commend you for taking that leap, putting it all out there, and really give your husband some credit too, because he was there to help, support you along the way. And not a lot of people have that, especially women. Usually the woman has to sacrifice for the husband's goals and futures and whatnot. But I think it's such an amazing story. That's why I wanted to have you on today, to get people to be more familiar with what you do and your story, because it's very inspiring. It's going to inspire a lot of other people. It really, really will. So walk me through like the very, very beginning stages of this. Like, who was your first customer? How did that go? And then kind of how did you start shifting into, where you were really doing it by yourself? And then we can go into how you started hiring people too.
Okay, sure. So my first client was an Air Force colonel, and he had just moved into, or he was like just taking command, and he wanted me to take over his office, like set his office up for him and organize it. And I thought, this seems silly, that this guy, who has so much money that they just pay somebody to do something for them. But I was like, I am that person and I'm willing to do that. And I know that I'll be great at it. So I went in there and we set his office up. And then he asked us to come back and do like the little communal break room that they have for all their airmen. So come back and do that. And we organize it with all the little bins and the baskets and the labels, and then doing his office and helping him sort through files and like what looks good, but also promotes productivity. All of those things were taken into account, which also really highlights to like what we do that's different is we understand that every family is different. So every household is different. How your household is run is different. The personalities within your household are different. All of that stuff matters when it goes into how do we articulate and set up your home for you to make it the most productive and efficient for your family. Because what I set up for my house doesn't work for my clients, So understanding that about each of our clients, that they're different and their households different and their routines are different. And some of them, like we have clients who, hey, my kid has ADHD, and like, okay, so what we set up for their home works different than what I would set up in a family who doesn't have any of those type of disorders or things like that, where we're like, okay, what we need to do here is ensure that we create a routine that works for that family. So we really take pride in honing in on each family individually and how we can support them the best way without it being something that is a one size fits all. We don't do that.
Right.
But yeah. So that was my first client. And that, one thing that we do is like each project we learn something. And so if we're not learning, then we're no longer growing. So every project that we do is different, and we learn different things from them, whether that be, oh, we did not like doing that, we're never going to do that one again, or, oh, I actually really enjoyed that. Like, let's see how we can expand this on the business, or, things like that. So from the very beginning, from the first project up until, any of our future projects, we always learn something from that project of how we want to incorporate something similar to that, or if we don't want to do something, or okay, for this type of client, what are cues that we're looking for in advance on how we can help them, because different people react to different things, so really a big thing about what we do that I like to say is we're very much like a therapist. We have to build that connection of trust and relatability and understanding and acceptance, because when you're in people's homes, it's a very vulnerable state. And so when you're right, and you have to be able to build that connection very quickly with any of your clients where they feel safe to have you in their home. They feel safe and that you care about the things that they have in their home and that you're going to treat them with respect and that they don't need to feel embarrassed about, what their home looks like. And, we're able to really capture and portray that we just want to help. We don't care about what it looks like. The messier, the better for us, because we feel like we're able to really get into the nitty gritty, and we're not afraid of hard work.
That's great. I mean, those are all fantastic things to have. I'm just scrolling through some of your social media feed right here. And you're exactly right. I mean, everything really does revolve. Everything in business revolves around adding value. If you can add value to somebody else, you will never go hungry. That's all there is to it. If you can add real, sincere, quality value to other people, you'll always have something to do. So maybe just walk us through like one of these videos that you've got posted here on your social media. I know we worked together, and that was kind of part of the beginning of our business coaching session when you reached out to me. What can we do with social media? How can we get more clients? How can we keep that pipeline full? And that's when we started talking about me working with you directly, kind of you working on your business, not so much in it, so that you can have that crock pot, set it and forget it business. You can let your people go do what they need to go do. You can let them shine with their talents because you've hand picked and hand selected the talent for this.
Right.
That's all great stuff. So tell me how that integrates all into like what we're watching right now.
Right. So a big part of what makes our wheel keep turning is our team, and ensuring that I am trusting them to be able to do what they do to the best of their abilities. And if I don't trust them to do that, then they're not a part of the team. Because I'm not a micromanager, and I also am not going to control the way that my organizers organize, because it's very specific. It's very, like specific to each client, and it's very different for every client. And our organizers they're great at different tasks. So playing to the strengths of my organizers helps the business, because if I put girls on a project that aren't super great at that project or don't like being there, then they're not going to want to be there, and they're not going to do the best that they can. So that's really big. For the social media thing, we do so many different types of projects that we just want to showcase all of them as far as like the services that we offer. This one. So we are featured in the New Braunfels City Lifestyle magazine, as this is their home edition for March. And we're one of their featured businesses for home organization. And that was super great. Like, we love that. And we love when businesses or magazines reach out to us, without us having to be like, we want to advertise, when we are great enough at what we do that people see it and reach out to us to be able to feature us in their magazine, is one thing that we love. Because that speaks volumes for us and for our business, and that we get organic growth and organic referrals from individuals who see our passion, who see what we do, and that we care about it, to create that relationship. And we love that.
Yeah. I mean, you've just done a fantastic job with everything. I mean, really, these videos, these fast forward videos, and just the before and afters. I mean, my goodness, it's almost like crack satisfying to watch a big mess just turn into poof, it's automatically organized. You know what I mean? Like, people can't get enough of watching stuff like that. And you've just done such a brilliant job of doing that marketing, and, listening to some of the tips that we were able to provide for you, and then just taking your own spin on it, and really just putting your own artistic vibe on it, that it turns into something so much bigger than anybody thought it could have been. I mean, when you started your business, did you think you would be here now? Like, with all that fear and anxiety and everything around you, did you ever think you'd be at this level where you can kind of be like, yeah, I did do that. I did get into that magazine. I do have 8 people. I can run this.
I did, but it was a hesitance, right? So I knew that if I didn't have goals, and if I didn't have the mentorship and the support that I needed to be able to achieve these dreams that I had, I wasn't going to get there. So I knew, like, this is where I envision my business, and this is where I want to be, and this is what I see for my business. And then kind of figuring out, how do I get there? And I knew that I didn't know all the answers, but I had connections to people who did know the answers, who would be able to help and support me. So seeking out different avenues of things like, working with you to know that, okay, I have a coach and a mentor, somebody that knows structures for business, and hey, this is what's going to be smart business, and this is what you need to do, and this is what you should be looking at. It really helps along the way, especially if I'm like, I feel like I'm drowning and I don't know what I'm doing, to have somebody be like, no, you're doing great, you're on the right track. Sometimes that's all that you need to keep going, because it's very much a fend for yourself sort of thing when you become an entrepreneur. And it's hard at times to find those people in your corner who want to see you succeed and grow. And one thing that I'd say that I think has been really great for me is finding those masterminding groups and networking groups of like-minded entrepreneurs, of people who want you to grow and want you to succeed and are there to support you, and especially people in our market. Other professional organizers, building those relationships and connections to them, to know that it's okay to have that competition and to respect the quality of work that each of them does, and to specialize in different things, to know, hey, how can I support you and how can you support me? And how can we promote each other, versus don't use that business, because they're not our business and we're better than that business. I'm not one who believes that. I believe that we all excel and we're all great at different things, and that it's okay for other people to also be great at things that you're great at, and how you can collectively work together to bring success to each of your businesses.
It's always easier to work together than it is to pull apart.
Sure.
I do that. I do that in my business too. I have a locksmith and security business, and when somebody new moves into the valley, or when something new happens, and new, I always try and reach out and welcome them into the community. And hey, what do you do? What do you specialize in? I did this with a guy that makes automotive keys, because I don't do any automotive work. I send all that business to him. Well, then he sends all his commercial work and safe work to me. And we don't have to be business partners, but I'm throwing him business, he's throwing me business. We're working together, we're recommending each other. And that's a whole lot easier if you have two horses pulling in the same direction versus pulling apart. There's two
Right.
ways to have the tallest building in town. Number one is to tear everybody else's building down. And that's what most people do, unfortunately, in this social media age. That's just the common ground, is it's just a sewer out there, and people want to do nothing but tear other people down. The other way is to put in the blood, sweat, and tears, roll up your sleeves, do the work, and actually build that building brick by brick. And that's exactly what you've done. And that's exactly why you're here. And that's why I'm featuring you as, you are the most successful business that we've had through the coaching program. So I just wanted to really let people see what you're doing on social media, see how it relates to your business, because you've done such a good job doing it. Other people need to see that, and it's going to inspire them to do the same thing. So we're coming up on about 20 minutes here, and I don't want to go any longer than that. For the last section of this, what would you say to somebody that was in your position when you started out?
I would say to maintain resiliency, and discipline. It's very hard, especially because I started my business debt-free. So I did not take out any loans for anything, and that was challenging many times, to know, okay, I need this and I need to pay for this and I need to pay for that, and where's the money going to come from? So financial discipline is very important. So it's not a free for all, and I wouldn't encourage anybody to go out and immediately get a business loan when they start their business. I think if you need one, I would wait a little bit before you just jump right into that. Other thing is, the resiliency, to be resilient, to be able to bounce back from the drawbacks. There's been plenty of drawbacks from different projects and things, and, lessons to be learned from various projects, very costly, expensive lessons to learn. But, to know, like, well, that doesn't mean that I just quit what I'm doing because it's not for me. To know that, okay, I can bounce back from this. This is how I'm going to be better from that. So consistently taking the time to learn. And to build lasting relationships. You don't want to be inauthentic or disingenuous with people or relationships that you build, because people refer people that they know, like, and trust. And if they don't feel that warm and fuzzy from you, you're not going to build those relationships with people within the community to be able to grow and build your business. So those are probably important things, is to do something that you're good at, be disciplined, especially financially, and be resilient to change and growth within your business, especially when you're building a team. Be approachable and be somebody that is a servant leader.
I couldn't have said it any better myself. Those are all great things. Would you have gotten a business coach at the beginning rather than towards the end if you had it to do over again?
I would say yes, because I think I'm somebody who's like, I can figure it out. I can do this. I don't need anybody. But to know that from the very beginning, if I would have had a coach from the beginning to kind of help me walk through that little stepping path, perhaps I wouldn't have had to learn as many lessons the hard way if I had somebody who had already learned those lessons, or somebody who knew, like, hey, don't do this because this is what's going to happen. That would have been helpful and probably saved me a lot of stress at the very beginning.
Wow, your whole story is just so inspiring. I'm so glad that we took the time to do this. Yeah, I mean, it's and the thing that I want to point out right there is you don't see failure as failure. Failure is just a learning opportunity. We learned a lesson. Okay, sometimes you learn a lesson the hard way, and sometimes it costs money. But just like college education costs money, so does a business education. You just paid the entrepreneurial price. That's the only difference right there. So that's great. I really appreciate everything, and look forward to continue to working with you. I mean, you were just such a good client with calling me and leaving me a message. Hey, I've got the craziest problem. I have too much business. I don't know what to do. Like when I got that message, that just made me feel warm and fuzzy inside, because it's like somebody got it. They took the tools, because I can give the tools out, but if you don't apply them, it's not going to do anybody any good. You have to take the tools, you have to apply them, you have to be disciplined, you have to do all these different things, and you have to do that in the right order, and you have to measure it and make sure that you're making forward progress, and you're well on your way to financial freedom. You're going to be able to take those vacations that you want to do. You're not going to have to worry about, money like other people do all the time. You've really created yourself some financial freedom. I'm going to put your links to all your social media pages because they're so good. I'm going to put those in as an example for other people who are in the organization field. Please check out the channels down below, because they're just fantastic, and it's a perfect blueprint to social media and what you've done with it. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and looking forward to seeing where you go, because you've come so far in this short amount of time. I can't wait to see where you end up in 5 or 10 years from now. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All righty. Great. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks. You too.
If you like this success story and are interested in seeing what the maximum potential of your business is, please call us about our Golden Ticket business coaching program today. Thank you for your time. Check us out on social media.